Hi, and welcome to Creative Emotions. Creative Emotions. This is, you will be getting motivation, encouragement. We will be lifting you up. We will be pouring into you. I speak life. And so that is what we will be doing. Thank you all for joining me. Thank you all for joining me. Let me get this going. We are live. We are live. So again, I am your host, Vaquita Taylor, and people know me as Q. Oh, how you know me? How you know me? You know me, Vaquita. You know me as Q. But I just want to welcome you guys again for being here with me today. So I want to give you a couple of ways that you can reach out. You can reach out via email, creativeemotions3@gmail.com. You can reach me on Facebook at Creative Emotions 4. You can reach me on YouTube and go subscribe to my channel, Vaquita Taylor. You can reach me on Instagram at Q Rising. That's QRISING. And you can reach me there. Again, I just want to thank you all for tuning in. You can comment, you can call in when the time is up. 1313-855-5737. You can call in, and let me continue. All right, so today we're going to be talking about overcoming adversity. And when you think about overcoming adversity, I think we have all been touched with this. And, you know, it may not come across that way. You may not be like, yes, I'm facing adversity. I'm overcoming adversity. But it's real simple. So adversity is defined as difficulties and misfortune. It's really that simple. Difficulties and misfortune. So when you think about trouble, hardship, heartache, sorrow, heartbreak, pain, trauma, we have all had some type of adversity in our lives. So when you think about when it comes to biblically in 1 Peter 5:10, but God of all grace, who have called us into eternal glory by Christ Jesus, after that ye have suffered a while, make you perfect, establish, strengthen, and settle you. That is very comforting to think that no matter what, after it's all said and done, that God is going to establish you. He's going to settle you. He's going to strengthen you. And so when you think about overcome is succeeding in dealing with the problem or difficulty. So we're overcoming adversity. It's like it's already done. We're overcoming it. And so we all go through this. And the fact that overcome comes before any word, that just let us know, like, it's all going to work out for your good. And that's what I want to encourage you with today. No matter what you're going through, no matter what it look like, it's all going to work out for your good. It is a purpose in your pain. It is a purpose in the trauma. It is a purpose in whatever it is that you're going through today. So I just want you to be encouraged that you will overcome your adversity, and everybody's adversity is different. So today, I have a special guest that did just that. He overcame adversity. God is making him perfect. He's strengthening him. He's establishing him. And Eladio.
Try again.
Yeah, I'm gonna get it. Eladio.
Yeah,
I got
Eladio,
it.
there it is.
Nino, okay? He has done just that, being self-determined, spiritual. He's a father, a community engager. So we're going to talk a little bit about overcoming adversity in the eyes of this man that has chose to make a difference, that has chose to turn his problem, his pain, into overcoming adversity. And so I just want you guys to listen up. So tell us a little bit about how did you overcome your adversity? How did it all start for you?
So for me, it started with a conversation that I had with a devoted Christian while I was in prison in 2004. At that time, I had 2 years in, and we had a conversation about communicating with God, and you know, I told him, like, man, I believe in God. I was raised as a Catholic, you know, but I'm familiar with many religious walks of life because I have family who are Jehovah's Witness. I had a father that was a devoted Christian, but so when I had this conversation with this guy, he said, you know, if you don't mind, you know, what is it that you pray for? And I said, you know what, bro, I pray for strength all the time. Yeah. And he said, well, when you go to the weight pit and you want to get stronger, what do you do? I said, I add more weight. He said, okay. So he said, when you ask God for strength, he putting more on your plate. He putting more on your back. You know what I'm saying? He said you got to learn how to articulate yourself and know what you asking for when you talking to God, because he gonna give you what you asking for. Because I'm like, man, I keep asking God for strength and my life just keep getting difficult. You know what I'm saying? I got challenges, obstacles, like what's going on. And he say, listen, man, God gave you just what you asked for.
Wow.
You know, so I said, man, you know what? I need to really learn how to communicate with God better and say what I mean, you know. And ever since then, man, like life has been more prosperous for me because now I know what to ask for.
That's good.
So, you know, I grew up in the Tri-City of Southwest Detroit, River Rouge, Ecorse since I was young.
Oh, Lord.
You know, I came up in the gangs. You know, I was the firstborn of 3 sons raised by a single mother. So, you know, I was born into a leadership position. I had responsibilities. By the time I was 15 years old, I was the man of the house already. I was helping mom pay bills. You know, I had dropped out of school in middle school at River Rouge. And because I just didn't have time for it, I ain't had room for it at the time. Between, you know, being in a gang, I was committed to that, and then, you know, I started selling weed, so you know, to help with finances at home, because I was helping my mom pay bills. You know, I was helping my mom get school clothes for my younger brothers. You know, so I grew up fast. You know, I grew up around a lot of adults. I got 7 uncles, and you know, everybody that inspired me were gang members and drug dealers, you know, and stuff like that. So I followed suit. You know, I thought, you know, what I was what I was always supposed to be. Wow. You know, eventually living that lifestyle led me to a 17-year sentence in prison. And, you know, that was detrimental to my family because they had relied on me so much. Oh, yeah, and, being the oldest. Yeah. And then, you know, at the time, you know, by the time I was 21, I had 3 kids already. And, you know, I was always raised that, you know, being a man and being a father was just being a provider. You know, as long as you pay the bills and your family got food on the table and clothes on their back, then you a good man and you a good father. And everything else was free game. So, you know, I lived a double life. I lived in the streets, and then, you know, I was taking care of my family and my community, you know, according to my knowledge. You know, because, you know, once you join a gang, there's a certain code of ethics that you live by, and you protect your community and your neighborhood. But, you know, sometimes the things you do become a conflict of interest with that.
Wow. Yep. And so you actually went to prison based off of just trying to provide, just trying to help out, and thinking that that's the way that you're supposed to live and make it. So you did 17 years?
Yeah, I did 17 years. You know, it's the thing is, so many people, they get involved in selling drugs and fail to realize everything that comes with the territory of it. You know, you got feds, you got indictments, you got murder, you got robbery, you got hate, you got all the ugly. You know what I'm saying? People only see the money, and, you know, so they glorify the lifestyle, you know. You know, we had them ethics, you know, live for today because tomorrow's never promised, kill or be killed. Oh, wow. Only the strong survive. So, you know, us mentally, we take that and run with it, and like that's just the way of life. Wow, you know,
that is the truth.
But once I went to prison, though, man, I did so much growing in prison that I suffered a lot first. I suffered because I continued, you know, the same pattern of thinking, you know.
Yeah, changing your mind.
You know, once you get to prison and you looking at that kind of time, I'm like, man, I'm about to spend half my life in prison, and in order to survive amongst wolves, you have to become a wolf yourself.
Wow. Yeah.
So for the first 12 years, you know, I was an animal. You know what I'm saying? Because I refused to be a victim in there.
Okay.
And it's not because
in survival mode.
Absolutely, yeah, no doubt about it. Because that's when they only the strong survive
mentality,
you know, kicked in on me. You know.
Yeah.
And it wasn't about just you know, being bloodthirsty or craving violence. It's just that in that environment, that's all that they respected.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
And I noticed that respect is one of the things that are important for me. And so just being in that environment, hostile all the time, just watching your back, aggressiveness and all of that, like. So 17 years of that, when did it change? Like, when did your mind like change to say, you know what, I'm ready to move up out of this? Like, in what year was that?
So I was at year 12. I had 5 years in front of me. Actually, I only had about 2 or 3 years in front of me at the time. So I was at 12 years, and I was doing really good, but I was straddling the fence. You know, I had taken a lot of self-help life skill classes. We're talking about parenting, critical thinking, creative thinking, communication skills. Yeah. I mean, you name it. I took the class, and it was really, it really made an impact. There was a organization called Chance for Life in there, and their motto was Romans 12:2, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind.
Yeah, for sure.
And it was one of my favorite quotes, but I never really fully understood it until I had to actually apply it. And once I started to apply it, I realized how powerful that I was. Because I thought according to my environment. You know, I was a product of my environment in the streets. I became a product of my environment in prison. And I felt like what I was what I was always supposed to be. But then once I started studying these life skills and critical thinking skills and really thinking about what the statement, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, meant, I came to the realization that I got power.
Yeah, you do.
I have power, intelligence, and the ability to be able to change the direction of my life and create my world, my own world.
You better come on here,
you know? And it's like, if you ain't got nothing, you don't want nothing. You know, and I had just, you know, at the time I was straddling the fence. I was doing good, but I was also doing bad because, you know, being in a leadership position, one of my biggest things was always to be able to provide for my community and provide for my people. So I chose to sell drugs in prison. And I ended up getting caught, and I had to break the news to my family. And I felt very, very small. I was ashamed. And, and that was a number one game changer, because for the first time in my life, I really felt ashamed of myself. You know, having to tell my mother, my brother, my son, and my cousin, these are my family. They've been relentless in supporting me since day one, never left my side. So when I had to break that news to them, I could tell like they was just, you know, just disgusted with the whole, like, man, we've been here waiting on you, you know, supporting you, doing everything we can for you to come home, and you in here doing this Mickey Mouse stuff. You know what I mean? Right. So once I got transferred to another joint, man, I just really started doing a lot of soul searching, a lot of inventory, and I went all the way back to childhood, and then just started correcting my errors. You know, you got to go back and deal with, you know, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Clean it up.
Absolutely.
That's good.
Yeah, because a lot of the mentality that I had, I was raised with. Since I was a kid, I was raised around gang members, drug dealers. I was always taught, don't talk to the teachers, don't tell the police nothing, don't repeat what adults say, don't answer the doors, don't speak out of turn. So I'm talking about since I was 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. That's what I grew up in.
And primed.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, no doubt about it. So I thought I was going to live that way and die that way. And, you know, once I just, you know, in prison, you know, I've read parts of the Quran. I've read, you know, the Bible. I've studied with the Native Americans. I've read books about the Buddhists, you know, and I just, you know, I took a little bit from everybody.
Yeah.
You know, and I got really in tune with spirituality.
Okay.
I went to the hole for a couple months because I had got caught with a knife. And but I swear, man, it's through suffering that I have found the most light, the most empowerment.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like what was supposed to break me actually built me
stronger,
up. You know what I'm saying? And it's just so many people who are concerned with feeding the flesh and don't take time to feed the spirit.
Come on.
You know, so here I am. I'm in the hole. I got this book. I say, you know what? I need some type of, I need something to get me out of this environment. And I started reading books, and it just talks about internal growth.
Yes.
It talked about the research. It talked about, man, I felt so powerful. And that's why today I walk this earth like a giant.
You better come on, because you are. Give me some
I don't know no other way.
Because you are. That's what's up.
Absolutely.
That internal presence, that internal engineering. That's what we have to do, being intentional with our words. That's why my brand and I live by speaking life to people. I don't like negativity. I don't like gossip. I don't like none of that. If I can change the situation, if I can change anything and it's in my power to do it, I'm going to do it. So just being in touch with yourself, being in touch with your Holy Spirit, because that's what lives inside of you. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, that's amazing. I mean, in the bad part, you know, what the enemy meant for our bad, God makes it for our good. And that's exactly what it sounds like happened here. What was supposed to be bad, in that moment of solitude, you was able to listen with an ear to hear. And that's amazing.
Hey, listen, as I grew spiritually, I began to outgrow the environment. I didn't have no more interest in the Mickey Mouse stuff that was going on.
Over it.
And I just felt like I was a slave to the ethics for so many years. You know, I didn't want to be a slave to nothing anymore. And so once I got that spiritual liberation, I just started to cultivate it.
Come on,
you know what I'm saying? And then I went to the homies and I said, you know what, man? I wanted to be able to make independent decisions that were conducive to my well-being. So being in a leadership position, I always had to make decisions that were in the best interest of the people, the flag, the community, you know, things like that. But once I was able to stand on what I personally believe, my personal, because I had a new moral system, I had new moral values, you know, so you know, after that, it was just like, I said, you know what, I need to retire my flag because I can't go home with, you know, committed to this, to my flag and be able to make a change, you know. So I went to the homies, I got an honorable discharge, I retired my flag, you know, I stayed in classes. I started breaking down barriers within myself because, you know, as people, we got our own biasness, our own discrimination, our own racism, all these things that we possess. And I said, the only way I'm going to be able to fulfill my purpose is to be able to get through all those barriers and start building bridges.
Let all that stuff go.
You know, because in prison, you can't talk to snitches. You can't talk to people who are gay. You can't talk to this. And I'm limited. Like, I'm a people person. You know what I'm saying? If I'm going to be...
You're over there like a robot.
Yeah. Like, I say, man, if I'm going to sit here and I'm going to be able to fulfill my purpose, I got to be able to be able to reach everybody and have a conversation with everybody.
Yes, that's huge.
And so I started in there. You know, I had sat down with this Mexican dude. He had a pedophile case. You know, and for the first 12 years of my sentence, I victimized them. Because, and then I realized when I was doing that research, you know, I had been sexually abused when I was a young boy. And I had took a lot of that anger, resentment, and frustration out on them, thinking that I was doing what was righteous because the people would applaud me for it. You know what I'm saying? But I just was like, you know what? I don't want to be part of the problem anymore. I want to be part of the solution.
That's so good.
So I sat down with this brother and I talked to him, and you know, it was just another case where a victim becomes a victimizer. You know, he was abused as a child and then grew up and then did the same thing to somebody
and it's
else.
A spirit too.
My thing was to avoid this from happening because he was going to be released from prison.
Oh wow!
And I said, you know, I could bust his head, but what am I going to get out of that? You know what I'm saying? And I said, you know what? I got to be able to break down these barriers and build these bridges. I also spoke with a young dude. He was like 18, 19, and he was gay, you know, and I had a conversation with him about how it came about for him to be that way. And he said that, you know, he had an uncle that used to rape him when he was young, and he just didn't feel like he was worthy to be a man. And I just thought it was sad to
Wow.
be defined by an experience like that where you change your
Yeah.
lifestyle according to what somebody else had done to you.
Yes, that's horrible.
So, I became a teacher while I was in prison. I used to facilitate curriculum, life skills curriculum, and I wanted to be able to reach out to everybody. And like I said, I had to break down those barriers within myself so I
Yeah.
could be able to be and love and teach unconditionally.
Unconditionally, that is the thing. Unconditional love is important. Stop judging people. Everybody experience is different. What you think is despicable is a struggle for somebody else. You never know. So it's important. It's very, very important to not judge people. Don't judge them for what they believe, because 9 times out of 10, that's how they grew up. Don't judge them if they're struggling with their sexuality, because we deal with stuff that we cannot see. We deal with the spirits, the evilness of this world. We deal with the problems in our mind. So it's important not to judge people, but to love unconditionally. And if your opinion is warranted, you would know. And then it will help and it will be received. A lot of the times we try to bring our opinions and our judgments on people, and it's not received because it's not coming from a place of love. And so I just want to encourage you today. Love. Did you hear what this man said? Coming from a place of unconditional love. But go ahead.
No, definitely. So it was crazy because, the lessons that I learned, I suffered a lot. But I started to see the purpose in the lessons. And I realized that a lot of times I suffered and went through things that weren't necessarily for myself, but to obtain some kind of knowledge or experience to be able to share
help,
with somebody else down the line.
Yeah, everything we go through, I don't believe it's just for us.
Listen, everything that's going on in my life right now makes so much sense because everything I went through in prison prepared me for what I am doing today.
Wow.
While I was in prison, I was able to start a youth program in
Okay.
there. And I mean, a successful youth program.
Won't he do it?
I had, the love and respect from the administration, from the wardens to the deputies to the captains to the lieutenants to the sergeants, where they were coming to me, wanting to utilize my intelligence and my
Yeah.
respect because I had discovered diplomacy. Because like I said, in prison, everything, it's a cold environment. Everything is concrete. Everything is gates, fences, barbed wire. Everything's gray. Everything's hard, So it's like, when you try to break away from an environment like that, the only way to do it is with kindness.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's not always popular in prison,
I'm sure.
because a lot of people mistaken that for being weak.
Soft and weak
and all that
Dang,
good stuff.
y'all got it hard.
And I mean, guys used to be like, why are you smiling so much? Why are you so happy? You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, man, I'm just grateful.
Yes.
I one day there was a beautiful day. It was blue skies, birds chirping, wonderful day. I was having a bad day. I'm walking the yard. When you become pessimistic when you having a bad day. I seen this guy on the yard. He got 2 rods for legs. So not only is he in prison, he missing 2 legs.
Lord.
He got 2 sticks. He out there doing push-ups, crunches. He having a time in
living
his
his
life.
life.
And immediately I said, man, what I'm mad for,
You
man?
got legs.
I got fingers, legs, toes, eyes, ears. The NDOC, they don't discriminate. They don't care if you're blind, crippled. They don't care
Clearly.
what's going on. They gonna make you pay. But it just seeing that transition for me was like, you know what, man? That changed
Right.
the whole dynamics of my day. I said, I ain't got nothing to be mad about.
I know that's
I ain't
right.
got nothing to be complaining about. Not at all.
That's mental. That's in our mind. And we can change that immediately. If you have a bad thought, you literally have the power to just change it. Think about something else. It's just that simple. It ain't that deep. We make it so much harder than what it has to be.
Absolutely.
We gotta feel like a victim. We gotta call somebody. We gotta get them on board. We gotta, we don't have to do none of that. All you have to do is change your thought. You change your thought, you change in your world. It's just that
and
simple.
that comes from ego, pride, trauma.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Because, a lot of people, they carry their trauma as baggage. They carry it
Oh,
into
yeah.
relationships and it just reproduces nothing
over
but,
and over and over, producing nothingness. Relationships that are toxic relationships, even with yourself. That's important. That's a thing. So tell me about your program. After you got out, tell me about your program.
So when I got out of prison, while I was in prison, I had received a magazine. And it was talking about a youth program that they had in Detroit, in Southwest Detroit. It was at the Detroit Hispanic Development Corporation. So I had like maybe a year and a half left. I wrote the organization. I told them who I was. I told them my whole story, and I told them that when I had got out, that I would like to, get involved some way, somehow, to build with the youth. They also had a programs for returning citizens. They had tattoo removal where they would take your gang tattoos off and stuff like that. So, because I had made these transitions in my life, I utilized the resource. I ended up going there. I got my gang tattoo removed, and I talked to some of the staff members there. I shared my story with them. And man, you know what? They ended up giving me a shot. They gave me a chance. They gave me
with a job.
Convicted murderer, just did 17 years. I had only been home 90 days. And they took a shot with me. Tell you what.
Tell me that ain't.
I said, man, listen, these people don't just talk it, they walk it. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
We're talking about people who are community activists. They say what they do for their people, this, that, and the other. And I believed in it because they gave me a shot. It's a lot of people that straight out of prison.
30 days.
And I tell you, when I'm there, I work the hardest, because I'm so grateful.
Yeah.
And since then, I have been able to build a wonderful life for myself.
Amen.
Before I went to prison, I ain't never had no bank account. I owed too much child support.
Oh, wow.
I never had no credit cards. I was under the radar. I lived in the streets. I didn't do nothing legal. I never had insurance on my car. I was bold. You know what I'm saying? And man, I came home. I ended up opening up a bank account. Now I get checks in my own name.
Yes.
I got a good credit score. You know what I'm saying? I got a loan for a vehicle. I paid that off. I just got approved to buy a house.
Come on.
It's just so many wonderful things, man, that I never thought I'd be able to live the way that I live now.
That is amazing. So you literally overcame your adversity.
Even voting for the first time in my life. I never thought.
For the first time.
Yeah, and then even as a felon, I
Get
voted.
out and vote.
Yeah.
Tell them. Tell them to vote.
Right there.
Oh, yours right there.
Get out there and vote. Your voice matters, I promise you.
That's important. So I want to ask you a question as we're winding down with the last 10 minutes. How important is support when people leave prison?
It is very, very important.
If you can let people know.
No, I was definitely blessed with an awesome support system. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I don't care how much support you got. If you don't believe in yourself, if you haven't mind your made up and you ain't determined to be successful and do the right thing and be righteous, I don't care how much support you got. It ain't gonna work.
That's good.
But if you got if you doing your part and you got your people there with you, you can't lose. You know what I'm saying? Because these are people who love you unconditionally. They have your best interests at heart and they're willing to contribute to your well-being. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I have my brothers, I have my family, I got my woman, I have my brothers, and they supported me in every way that they could. Whether it was giving me advice, whether it was just supporting me financially with clothes. I came home and I didn't know what was gonna happen, how it was gonna happen, but I didn't even have to do nothing.
Wow.
God moved all the mountains for me. You know what I'm saying? God worked two people through people.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying? I came home and I was looking like I never went nowhere.
Wow. Like you just came right back in it.
Everybody was like, damn, you got more shoes and clothes than me and I ain't even been nowhere, and I'm like, man, God put this there for me, He
got you.
Got me I had people just coming from everywhere just blessing me, and I was like, man, that's how powerful God is. That's how real God is. You know what I mean?
Man, that blesses my heart. How can a person coming out of that environment be encouraged? With the resources, how can they really be encouraged? Because you came out, but you came out on faith. You came out awake, in your spirit and your mind.
Everybody don't come home like me. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people, they come home worse. They come home animals. They come home feeling like the world owes them something. Society owes them something. And they here to collect. You know? Me, I just came home with so much peace in my heart. I felt like, nobody owed me anything. And
right there.
I just wanted to be a contributor.
Don't nobody owe you nothing.
Yeah. I live my life to right my wrongs. You know what I'm saying? Like that's where I'm at. I said, you know what? I want to get good with God. I want to right my wrongs. So that's how I live my life. I do my best to stay righteous.
Yeah.
I do my best to stay humble. I'm human. I'm not perfect,
Right.
but every day I do my best to be my best.
So did you just get married?
I did. I just got married last month. Yeah. Thank you.
Hey, beautiful. She here with us in the studio. That blesses my heart.
And
So-
shout out to Patricia Lynn for, putting in the word for me, man.
I know,
Thank you.
right?
I appreciate you.
Good job, Pat. You know me and you know him and you just knew. Like that energy is going to be like, booyah.
Ain't no doubt about it.
Positive vibes. So can you give us information, give people information on how to reach you while we're winding down, and talk a little bit, just letting people know you got a podcast as well. So give that information, how they can find you, and the program that you're working with if people want to get involved.
Okay, so you can find me at the Detroit Hispanic Development Corporation over on 1211 Trumbull in Corktown near Southwest Detroit. You can find me eladio.nino19@gmail.com. You can look up my podcast. It's called Real Everyday People. You can look up the El Nino Podcast on www.facebook.com/El Nino Podcast. Check me out, man. Listen, I got people from everywhere on there telling their stories, sharing their lives, sharing their talents. I got guys on there, people in general who come in, they share their skills, their arts, everything. And it's just a beautiful experience. I created the platform because while I was in prison, I learned so much about people just through hearing their stories.
Yeah.
And I feel when I came home, I seen so much division. Technology was one of my biggest challenges when I got home, but I realized how it really separated and disconnected people.
Wow, yeah.
So I felt
sure.
like the best way to be able to sympathize, understand, and empathize with people was just by hearing their stories.
Yeah.
So that's why I had created that platform. And, check me out. Everything is real. I'm always sharing. I always put my heart into everything that I do.
Yes, that's important.
And, I think it's wonderful that you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah, amen.
And congrats on taking care of your business. And
Hey.
I really appreciate you having me on here, too.
Shout out to the engineer, Miles. You're doing a great job. Thank you so much, Miles. You're an awesome man. Thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's okay. So the program for what ages?
So we're doing, I think, from 9 years old all the way up. So I work with the youth from 14 years. I even work with adults, returning citizens. But my age bracket right now with the guys I'm working with, they're anywhere between 15 to 17 to 18 years old. I took them to the gym today. Shout out to Boot Camp Express and Taylor for allowing me to bring my youth in there and work out with them guys. They love it. They appreciate it. So, at least a couple times a week, I'll take them out to do community service.
Good.
So, in our neighborhood, we got an epidemic with these whippets. These guys are doing whippets, and they just drop off these canisters all over the neighborhood, 50 to 100 at a time.
Oh, wow.
You can go up residential areas and just see them all over the streets. So, me and the youth, we go around and we pick it up, and clean it up just because it's unsafe. You see them at parks and places like that. People got pets, kids, things
Right.
like that who can be harmed. And on top of that, man, you guys are disrespecting Mother Nature. You
Yeah.
know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
for sure.
So, we do that. And we do so many other things during the pandemic, we were passing out diapers, we were distributing food, we were
that's good.
distributing money to help families. You know what I mean? And I was like, man, I don't got no lot of money or nothing like that, but
Yeah.
my heart is bigger than my budget. You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
my job puts me in a position where I'm able to break bread.
Yeah.
You know,
and that matters. When people can see, you can get past the financial part. When you do things from your heart, everything else, the money's gonna come. We're not supposed to be worried about none of this, honestly. God tells us don't
Absolutely.
worry about nothing. Don't worry about what you're going to eat, what you're going to drink, what you're going to drive, what you're going to wear. Don't worry about none of this.
That's what confuses me about people who are people of faith, because they claim that they, believe and love God and trust in God.
Yeah.
But why you so scared for? What is you so stressed out for? What is you going through all this for?
Right, that
I be
fear.
humble. I be peaceful. I
Yeah.
sit down when the storm is going. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah.
I mean, there's days where it's raining and I don't even feel a drop. You know
Hey,
what
you
I'm
better
saying?
come on. He in here doing poetry. Here, laying it
Yeah.
down. That's what's up. I am so grateful that you took the time out to come and kick it with me. This has been some substance. Y'all know I like, you know what it is, right? So make sure you guys share this video. Go over and follow him and get involved. Like, get involved. This is some good stuff. Again, if you know of anyone who they're doing great things in the community, and we need to get this out. If each person would reach someone, if we share these videos, if we get it out, a lot of the things that are not used for, not helping, it would drown it out. With more good, we bring more good into our cities, into our communities, and we just look out for each other. So again, I just want to thank you so much for coming. Thank you for allowing us this time, wifey.
We're going to have to get you on the El Nino podcast.
Oh yeah,
huh?
yeah. That's how it's
Real
supposed
everyday
to go.
people, y'all support it.
That's how it's supposed to go. So I just want to thank everyone for joining us. Every Wednesday, 6 p.m., we are going to be here, Creative Emotions, where you are going to get encouraged, motivated. You're going to get these good vibes, okay? And I love you, and there ain't nothing you can do about it. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next week, okay? Peace. Thank you.